Hi, good evening, everyone. This is DIY with Beth, and it's October's DIY. So, we've done a few of these over the course of the summer. In case you haven't been part of it and it's for your first time in, thought I'd give you a little backstory. When so many of us were stuck here at home without a lot to do, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, we decided that we would make the most of what we had. So, we took some old windows and I made some window shelves and those were super cute, by the way. Had a lot of compliments on those. Probably could make fortune if I'd open an Etsy store, but who has time for that? Let's see. August, we did a moisturizing body butter, and that was made out of simple ingredients you can find in the grocery store. You could even order online if your store didn't carry it. Stuff that keeps really well, so you'd get a lot of wear and tear out of the body butter or creams that you decided to make. And then we did, oh gosh, I have no words today. We did a card table makeover. So we had some card tables that were really worn, probably close to 20 years old, burn marks, scuff marks, legs were a mess. We took it apart, painted it, recovered the whole thing, and gave it a new life. And now it's October, and we're all about charcuterie. Now, admittedly, I started hearing about charcuterie boards a couple years ago, and I thought, what's the big deal? It's just a board with food on it. I eat food all the time, nothing fancy about that. Then I did a little research. So, charcuterie, for all of us nerds out there, is actually cold cooked meat. That's the literal translation. And it's a French term, and it means cold cooked meat. A lot of stores in France that sell that type of food, probably, I'm thinking things that pair well with wine, as one of my coworkers told me. Um, anyway, the stores in France that sell these items are called charcuterie. So, that's how the name came about. I know you like those fun facts because you're just as nerdy as me, right? So anyway, charcuterie here can take on lots of different forms. We do here in the States and in other countries too, I'm told, meats, cheeses, fruit. It can really be anything. So for my charcuterie board, I got online and looked around a little bit, and I found on those little sales sites and different main big box stores, they sold these charcuterie boards and they're crazy expensive. Ours is not. But I found boards that were this shape generally and almost this size, but not quite. And they were in excess of $100. Now, the cheapest one I found was $89, but by the time you pay tax and shipping, you're at well over $100. The most expensive one of this caliber with some wood burn design on it was $200. I don't have $200 to spend on a board that I'm going to serve food on, but I can make it for a lot less. So that's what I did. So the first thing I did was I looked online to see what those sizes were. And most of them were about a 9-inch board and, 28, 30, 34 inches long. So I trotted down to the local lumber store and I bought a 1x10 that was 6 feet long and had them cut it in half. Now, a 1x10 is not really 1 inch thick by 10 inches wide. It's about 3/4, half to 3/4, by 9 or 9 1/4 or 9 1/2. They are never 10 inches. So don't be stressed out about that. So I took my board, and I'm going to lay a towel down because we're going to get a little messy. So I took my board and I grabbed my sander, because the first thing you need to do is prep your board. So you want to get any of the rough wood grain or pieces that are sticking up. You want a nice smooth edge. So I took my little sandpaper that's Velcro. Love that. And I used the 80 grit because it's really rough and it's going to get that off there. So it's going to get loud for a second. I want you to see how the color might change a little bit when I do this. And also I'm going to sand these edges so they have a nice smooth edge and are a sharp corner. Now, I did that on all 4 sides with the real board. I could spend a lot of time doing that, but you get the gist. Sanding is sanding. When I'm all done, I'm going to peel this off. I'm going to grab, and I dropped it, my 220, and I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to go over the whole thing again, because the 80 really roughs and scuffs up that top layer of the wood and gets any imperfections off of there. The 220 is going to smooth it, so it's going to be like glass. We want glass when we're done. So, for all intents and purposes, we'll say that we've sanded this and done the whole thing. I have to get rid of this dust, though, before I go and oil the board or seal the board to make it food safe. So I would take a little rag, and usually I just cut them from an old t-shirt that's gotten stained, because I stain them even more. Just sweep it under the faucet, wring any of the extra water out, and you're going to wipe down your board. You'd wipe down all the edges and get all that dirt and sand and grit off of there. And then you would leave it and let it dry. For our purposes, we're not going to be able to leave anything to let it dry, but we're going to pretend. We're going to play make-believe. I like to take my handles and set them out, and since I played with it earlier, I can kind of tell you that I like this mark that's, I don't know, maybe an inch from the edge of the board. I think it looks nice. It doesn't take up too much of the board. So I think I'm going to go about an inch in. So I'm going to take my tape measure, and I always like to use a tape measure that shows all the measurements, the 1/8, the 1/16, the 1/4, the 1/2, because sometimes it's all just a bunch of lines for me. Admittedly, it does confuse me. So I'm going to go in a couple spots on this end of the board, and I'm just going to mark the 1-inch mark. And then I like to take a level, because I think it's just a super nice straight edge. And I'm going to make my line across. So I know that my drill holes are going to go there. Now I need to check and see with my handles where the center of the hole is. So mine are just about 5 inches exactly. Can you see that? Does that make sense? See the center of the hole? Because you got to do those pretty accurately or you're going to have trouble adhering those handles. So I have measured my board. I know that it's 9 1/4. So that tells me if I do 2 1/8 on this side and make my dot. I'll make it kind of bigger so I can see. I don't have the glasses on. And I'm going to go in 2 1/8 from this side, because again, I did do the math, so I know exactly how it'll fit. And I'm all set. Now I can drill my holes. So I know my handles came with these screws, and I want the hole close to, if not just the tiniest bit larger, because what's going to hold it together is the screw going through the wood into the handle. So it can be a little loose because we're going to tighten it way, way down. So I can take my drill and then drill right through those, but I'm going to need some wood underneath it because we never like to drill without a piece of wood underneath it. I'll do it like this so it's even. So I'm going to drill right on that spot. Oh, I'm going to bring it over so it's right on my line a little better. And drill down till you'll feel it touch the board, and then keep pushing the trigger down and pull it straight out. Now, if you get a little charcuterie crazy though, and you want to have a nice hack, here's a great hack. Once you have one board cut, you can crank these guys out all day long. They would make really nice gifts, I think, for people. And it would be something handmade and from your heart, and I think people always love that. So now here's my hack. I'm going to go right over the same holes I have here and just make an indentation on my board. And now I'll make sure I went all the way through. Yep, I feel that board underneath. Perfect. So now I have sanded, rough sanded, I have smooth sanded, I have cleaned it down, I've gotten my holes ready. Now, do I want to oil it or do I want to use the wood burning kit? Now I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to use the wood burning kit tonight. That's a whole other program. And it is a little time consuming, but it's so worth it. This is the wood burning kit that we own at the library. And when we're up to full services, we have a maker space and we have maker kits that can check out and you can do at home. So you'd be welcome to check this out and do it yourself at home. I had never wood burned anything before. And I did this. Can you see where I started? Oh, I bet you can. Here's where I started. I feel like I had a little heavy hand. And as I got going, felt a little more natural. And I went along. So I think all in all, for a first attempt, it's not bad. And I just want you to know that the vine was a pattern that Jenny gave me. But the dots were all my own. That's original art. And I think it's the prettiest part. So sad. That's my contribution. 3 little dots bunched up everywhere. So if I was going to wood burn, I would wood burn everything, get it all set, wipe it down, make sure everything's dry, and then I'm going to put some tung oil on it. You could use tung oil, or I think this can is actually just called butcher block oil. You want to use a food safe oil. So we had a whole discussion about this at work, like what oils are food safe. Butcher block oil, tung oil is linseed oil, but it depends on what kind. It has to be raw linseed oil. If they boiled it, they probably put a chemical in it. So be careful. Always look for food safe. Mineral oil, olive oil, those don't work the same way. These oils penetrate deep down and you do multiple applications where a mineral oil or an olive oil would be a quick, let's get the shine back and get it looking pretty. So I'm going to open my oil and I just swirl it around. If you have a stick, you could use that to stir it. It can be kind of thick and it can get kind of globby. And I always put gloves on because this stuff is so gross on your skin and you want to protect your skin. And I just take a rag, dip it in there, and rub it on. You're not going to scrimp on this. You're really going to want to get it on there, and you want to have a little bit so it just soaks in. So you do this all over your board. See, and you can see, or I can, I hope you can, in the spots where I maybe don't have enough oil, the wood starts to look a little dry and I have to reapply. And it's okay to leave that little swirly bit like I am, just sitting in there, because we want it to soak in. Wood's so porous. Okay, so I have it on there. I would then go and I would do all my edges. And it's okay if it drips, because when I do this for real, I normally would have it on a table or a work table or a surface that I can leave it alone. Each oil will tell you a different amount of time that it has to dry and what to do afterwards. 9 times out of 10, you're always going to have to take that 220 grit paper and run it over. I don't even use my little gizmo for it. I just use my hand, run it over lightly, wipe it down, let it dry, do another application. So make sure you read your manufacturer's instructions because each one will vary a little bit. So let me get this piece out of here so it can dry, and I'll show you how we're going to attach our handles next. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right. So I have my board. I've oiled my board. I've sanded my board. I've oiled and sanded and oiled and sanded. You get it. And now I'm going to put my handles on. When you buy handles at the store, they will come with these little sets of screws. This one came with 2 large screws and 2 short screws. And that's because the manufacturer doesn't know what you're putting it on. Is it a thick cabinet door in a hallway, or something that you need a little more room for, or is it a little shorter? I can tell you, because I played around with this, we need the short ones. So what we'll do is I'm going to turn my board over so the unfinished edge is facing me and you can see the front. I'm going to take that and I'm going to pop it. No, I don't want it that way. What am I doing? I want the unfinished side so you can see it. I'm going to take my screw and pop it through. And then I'm going to come to this side. And I'm going to line up my hand up there. And just even with my finger, maybe, yeah, I can start to get that to go on. So I'm just twisting a little with my finger. Now I'm going to bring the other screw over. And I'm going to screw this right on. See if I end up needing my big screw gun. And these are going in so nice. All right, now we'll repeat the same on the other side. There's just really no good way to show you because I can't show you both sides of the board at the same time. I am gonna try laying it down, maybe. Nope. All right, so I'm gonna match up that one too. So now they're both there, and I'm gonna screw this one on. All right, so I've got them on there, and they're not quite as tight as I would like them to be, and I also kind of want them to sit down into that wood a little better. So I'm going to take my screw gun real quick. And I'm going to just tighten it down. As tight as I can in there. I want it as flush as I can get it. This is where glasses would be my friend, but I don't have them on. Then the next part, super important so you don't scratch anything. I don't have the tool, and I can't just pop right out of my head as to what it is that will hollow that out so those screws will tuck right down in the wood, but that's okay because I have these. These little rubber pads are so handy. When I buy a plaque or a hanging for the front door, I like to put those on it because every time you open and close the door, it thunk, 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 and it scratches up the door. This saves that door a whole ton. And then, you know, I don't have to repaint it constantly. So there's that. And now you have cute little feet. For your charcuterie. Cute, huh? Look how easy that was, and it didn't take us very long at all. Yeah, I know, the oiling, the sitting, but really, if you're doing other stuff around the house, that's a little project that you can do in like little drips and drabs. So I'm going to move this off the table, get all these tools out of here, and then we're going to talk food. I don't know about you, but that's almost always my favorite part of the day. So bear with me while I clean. This is how I clean. I throw everything together and I shove it in the other room. Sort of like when company's coming over and you grab your biggest laundry basket to get rid of all the unsightly things in your house. Or is that just me? Maybe it's just me. This guy can go. Okay. Alrighty. So we've got our board, and now it's time for yummy food. And to give you some ideas, I wanted to share with you a couple of the books that we have at the library. Of course, they're currently checked out to me, so I'll return them tomorrow. We're on a 4-day quarantine, so about the 5th day, you'd be able to get them if you put them on hold. And sometimes I'm slow to start. I just have a hard time getting started with an idea. I don't know really what I'm doing or how to begin, which is totally what I'm doing with this. And then I find these. Sometimes one picture can give you all the ideas in the world. Now that looks like some yummy food to me. And it's so pretty because these are supposed to be artful too. I don't know that mine will be, but in theory. And yet to tell you, art, maybe not. Don't take it too seriously. These folks used a muffin tin, but look at all the yummy stuff they put in there and how it's just fun. Just a fun little thing to have. More great ideas in this one. I think this one had fondue as well. So, lots of great ideas at the library. Obviously, you knew that. Food. Okay, there are really no right or wrongs for doing one of these boards. It's whatever you like. And since we're having our family over this weekend to do pumpkins, and we have a lot of little people in our lives, we thought we'd make this really kid-friendly. So I'm going to get some of their favorite snacks and treats, and maybe a few of my husband's or my brother's things too. So we've got some candy corn with peanuts, and we've got a yummy chocolate hazelnut spread. We're doing some s'mores, so I will have those elements too. And just because I didn't have a chance to wash my hands before I did this, after handling the wood and the oils, I'm going to put gloves on before I touch the things that aren't in containers. So, let's see. We've got meat, cheese, graham crackers, marshmallows, summer sausage, grapes, ooh, Teddy Grahams. Can I fit all this on here? Well, yes, I think I can. All right, so I've got my starting point. I think I'm going to come in here with some graham crackers, and I don't have a surefire plan. So we're all in this together, people. Feast or famine, all together. I'm going to round it a little bit so it's going around that. And let's stick this delish chocolate in there. That's cute, right? Okay, so graham crackers, chocolate. Ooh, Teddy Grahams, because we have some little hands in our family. So let's do some Teddy Grahams. Oh, and we can't forget the marshmallows. Let's incorporate those. So look at that. I tend to like everything to look kind of symmetrical and even and balanced. And look what I did. Threw marshmallow in the chocolate. It's going to stay. I'm going to fight against my tendencies here. You guys are with me, right? And because with sweet stuff, always good is savory. Let's put some butter crackers out. There. I feel like that one stopped short. I'm going to come over here and do the same Uh-oh, broken ones. I think my cameraman might have to eat those when we're done. I'd eat them, but, you know, allergies. So what do you think? Is it shaping up nicely? I see about 5 things I would eat wholeheartedly. And I'm going to go with summer sausage. Because who doesn't like that, right? I love this stuff. So we have 2 different ways. You could do super smooth, you could just stack them and be a little crazy. And cheese. Always cheese. It just depends on how neat or fussy you want to be. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's your house, your board, your rules. Your people will eat it no matter how you put it on there. Okay, I think some grapes. We need some grapes. Some these in here. Who doesn't like grapes? I'm going to do the opposite side on this one. Because while I like balance, I don't like things to be too matchy-matchy. It gives me the hives. I feel like it's something I can't attain. Like if it's too perfect, like I can't maintain that. So let's not do that. All right, clear off some of this so we get a clear view of our board. Okay, what do you think? Do you like it? Look at this. For a fraction of the cost, we made our own charcuterie board. We tailored, custom made our board to suit our family and its needs. And I don't know anyone who wouldn't want to have a yummy snack off of that board. I just don't know. If you can't find something you like to eat here, you can't find it anywhere. So I hope that you've enjoyed this charcuterie board DIY program. Just so you know, anything is possible. We don't have to have exactly like someone else, and it doesn't have to look just this way or just that way. And if you are super particular and that is what makes you happy and drives you, then do it. But in anything you do with DIY, look at what you have, make it something you love, make your house the home, go from drab to fab, and save yourself about $100 by making your own board. It's just a little sweat equity. I hope you've enjoyed the program tonight. I hope you had a really good day and have a great evening. And I hope for you that you have an even better tomorrow. We'll see you next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.